Solder melt. That one looks good. Clean off your iron tip, baby. I like this little gold thingy. It's better than the sponge. If you got some of these dead headphone extenders in your cable bin like I do, come on with me and let's solder up some nice headphone extensions. I use these things quite a bit. They're little headphone extenders. Often you'll have a pair of headphones especially when you have multiple people in a band. You'll have a headphone out, and I'll use one of these. It's a female mini to a male mini, like these. Okay, so then this will plug in, and then the headphones can extend across the room. The problem with these is these are really cheap. Even this Amazon one, it looks metal, but it's actually not repairable. You can't unscrew it. Most of the time they're plastic like this, and you know, they short out, especially at the male end. So often I'm finding I'm having to throw these away. So I have a couple dead cables, so I want to show you guys how to rescue these cables and make them useful again by soldering on a TRS connector. You also don't have to use these goofy adapters, which also tend to short out a lot and they get loose sometimes. So ideally you would have a 1/4 inch female. This is what I'm working with. Maybe we'll do the 1/4 inch as a extension for the video later. Okay, let's just start off by clipping this one. Strip off some of this shielding. Let's see what this blue metallic stuff on here is, but it's like copper, it's like foil shield. Let's just take that off, and now we'll reveal the cables. I'm assuming red is hot, black is cold, and we have a ground lead here. So that's what we're going to solder into our TRS connector. So let's go ahead and take this bad boy off. First thing first, we're going to take off this outer shell. First, we're going to take these strain relief crimps and just kind of pry them off. That's easier said than done. This is, if you're starting with a new connector, you don't have to do this step. It's kind of hard to get these. Okay, just get the needle nose and get it under there. Come on. Okay. That should be enough on that. And we're gonna be redoing all this, so don't worry about ruining the cable because we're about to totally ruin it before we fix it. So, okay, now I got the strain relief off, the needle nose. Now I use these little hands. I probably should use a vise, but I don't have one. I should pick that up pretty soon, but I don't do this every day. I like to do this with a needle nose in the left hand. Prepare the needle nose first. This requires a lot of precision sometimes. So I'm gonna get the needle nose on that red one so I can pull it off once that solder goes soft. Okay, and come on, pull off. And then we pull it off. Okay, and I got some solder on the wire. Well, okay, so let's get that one off. There we go. Stay off. And now let's remove our ground. There's a little flap on the bottom of these. And so I'm gonna just pull that up. Put that in our little hands. Now this one's a little tricky because it's under. Okay. Come on. There's a lot of solder down there. Okay. So now our cable's off. I don't know which one is hot, so I'm just gonna guess that right is red, and if it's reversed, then we'll just switch them around. We want to really cut that lead wire way down. Cut it like right there. Let's see what happens. Okay, that's that ground. Tin that. Let's go ahead and tin this baby up. It's gonna go right about. Oh, man, I need to cut a little more off of that actually. It's gonna be tight. And this little flap is going to sit over it. And that's very important. I learned that last time I did this, that it shorted out one of these side channels. Let's get some solder on there. Not too much. Now, I'm just gonna, this wire stuff is all about positioning. Let's wait for it to cool down. good connection. I made a newbie mistake. Now let me take this off. Okay. Pretty harmless, pretty painless mistake, but glad that I caught it. So you want to put this thing on first, because if you finish the job, there's no way to get that thing off or get it on once you finish these connections. So okay, now we got our cap in, and okay, now let's solder that back. Get that flat. Melt these other ones. Okay, should be cool by now. And there we go. Okay, let's pull this flap down. Okay, that looks good. Bring it on down. And you want to measure so that your crimp is right on that outer jacket of the cable. So now we're just going to measure. So I'm going to cut it right there. And let's strip that back. Okay. Need some better wire strippers. And I might want to cut a little off of that. About these cables is they're really precision job. It's all about the length of that. Just a little more, just so it sits right on that solder cup. And these cups have been pre-filled with solder, so that's why I'm not putting any more. Someone already did that. There, that looks good. And actually, let me get this out of the way. Pre-tin this so that it goes on a little easier. A little bit goes a long way. Right there. That's good. Put some heat on it. Not come on. There we go. That looks good. Give it a little pull. Okay. Let me actually go test it to make sure that I'm doing right and left correctly, and we'll come back. Okay, so I tested it and I did have it reversed, so that's why you always test these things so you don't do double and triple work. So the red was to the left, so let's just do that. Okay. But you never know with these cables what's hot, what's cold. I wish there was a universal standard, but there's not. So I know blue is always cold. Okay. Solder. Come on. I might put a little more solder on there. Okay, that looks good. Let's cut it down. Cut it on down. And cut it right about. Cut back a little bit of that. With these lengths, I'm just eyeballing based on that solder cup. Okay, I'll twist this up. And I will tin it up. Let's put it down here. Just a little bit. These little wire clippers come in handy. Solder melt. And that one looks good. Clean off your iron tip, baby. I like this little gold thingy. It's better than the sponge. I got all this stuff on Amazon, by the way, so. Ooh. So there we go. And so now we have female 1/8 inch to male 1/4 inch. So let's finish it up. Let's test it out. Always test your stuff. I won't be able to show you guys the test, but you'll have to believe me if I tell you. This mixer is pretty nice, the Yamaha MG06. What it does is this one button will pan, if you press it down, the left channel will, the first channel will go left, and then the second panel will pan right. So that's a good way to test if you made the right connection. So now I'm hearing the headphones in both ears. When I depress it, it's in the left ear. If I move to channel 2, it's in the right. So we did it correctly. So let's crimp it up and finish the job. Okay, so now we'll just take that strain relief and we'll just crimp it on down now that we've tested the cable. This is the part that I really don't like. I like those Nutric connectors because they have a separate plastic tab for strain relief. I don't like these mechanical kind of metal strain relief. I don't feel it's the best solution, but. And this cable is going to be a little thin in our thing, but what are you going to do? Just, this is not cut. You could make these from a standard mic cable, but this is what I had on hand. This is the hardest part of the job for me, is strain relief. Soldering is easy, this part is annoying. Okay. And once that's on, good luck getting that off. Luckily, we remembered not to do the total screw up, and that's done. So now, whenever we're in the studio and we got somebody has headphones and they need an extension, just hand them this, and then we plug this into our headphone amp or mixer or whatever, and boom, we got a headphone extension walking around the room in the gym.